Here's a brief summary of what actions are contained in my executive order. Secretary
There will never be another Nipsey Hussle.
I'm done dealing with the wave riding, these gram chasing, so I ain't taking no requests now, cause I'll be off the line, I'll be off the line. Done dealing with these punk fakers, these complainers, I gotta get these pockets in shape, so I'll be off the line, I'll be just fine, doing fine, hey. I'm in the UP doing mine, putting light behind these bars, yeah I do the time. New spirit, new face, I'm a new design. Wade Kim was feeling when she bought the new behind. I'm just kidding probably, but not like all you petty niggas who just Twitter sloppy. Rearrange your nigga comments that you trim and copy. Like I really give a shit about how they feel about me. Nah, see I don't diss for the kudos. Blog banging only get your pot, no Derulo. You know, name kicking shit, Uno. Life a cold bitch, time to pull up with a duo. Never tell them where I'm at. It's a volleyball, blocking all you niggas on the net. Accepting your requests ain't gon' lead me to a chat. So I don't give a fuck, nigga. I'm done dealing with the wave riding, these gram chasing. So I ain't taking no requests now, cause I'll be off the line, I'll be off the line. Done dealing with these punk fakers, these complainers. I gotta get these pockets in shape, so I'll be off the line, I'll be just fine. Thought I was washed up, LML. From IE to NY, I've been in my head. While y'all been finding out the news, I've been finding angles. Still connecting with the block, that's a lot of Legos. Tuned in, but this ain't for cable. Now I've been chilling on some bread, pickle and tomato. Yeah, I went out a quiet neighbor, now I'm back like a waiter. It's a lot of hot shit I'm bringing to the table. Thanks to these trendy artists who bitch and argue. Keep giving out the wrong information for Insta follows. I'd rather twist my infant bottle than Insta models. Won't read a book but got booking info and strip tomorrow. Damn, don't need approval on my life, dawg. I ain't concerned about likes, I ain't like y'all. Time to clean up these lies, yo, where that Lysol. Now I'm signed off. Done dealing with the wave riding, these gram chasing. So I ain't taking no requests now, cause I'll be off the line, I'll be off the line. Done dealing with these punk fakers, these complainers. Gotta get these pockets in shape, so I'll be off the line, I'll be just fine, doing fine, living fine. I'll pick the signs, was really real, so please don't leave me alone. Waste no more time, waste no more.
Yes, yes, yes. I know it's Saturday. It's 7:30 on the West Coast, 9:30 Central, 10:30 on the East. What are you guys doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? How's it going, everybody? My name is Tyrone Irvin, and this is Soapbox Heroes. How you doing? You guys come in if you get a chance to check this out. Share. Sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. I know it's Saturday. Everybody got stuff to do. People were busy. People are like, what are you talking about today, Tyrone? What are you talking about? Today I want to go back in very distant history, well, what seems like distant history in today's age of digital light speed. Everything kind of stays on your tongue for a day, then it goes away. Stay on your tongue for a day and go away in this digital era. I want to talk about, you guys remember a long time ago, about maybe 10, 12 days ago, Josh Brown. Remember, Josh Brown was murdered, shot and killed, and people were saying, well, it's because he was a key witness in the Amber Geiger trial. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of innuendos, a lot of things going around, and, well, I noticed here about less than a week or two later, he has disappeared from the headlines. Nobody's talking about him no more. I mean, I don't know what happened. Well, I do know what happened, and so you know what? I hope you guys got a couple minutes. We're going to go on a little journey. Just a little journey through space and time so I can show you guys some things. Josh Brown was a victim of the civil rights hustle. I said it correctly. I'm going to say it one more time. Josh Brown was a victim of the civil rights hustle. All right? Let me get over here. Let me share this one time. See what it do. Now you gotta listen to me first. You can't just look at the title or listen real quick and just make a real quick judgment. You have to listen. Now, when I say that Josh Brown, the man who was murdered a few days after Amber Geiger's guilty conviction, the guy, they were saying, well, he was shot in the mouth and it was revenge, it was justice, and everybody was so angry. And you know what? At a point in time, everybody does have a rightful right to be able to be angry. But my thing has always been, is the anger really coming from the right people? Are we taking our cues on to be angry from the right people? And so again, this is why I say that Jashua Brown was a victim of the civil rights hustle. Now, I'm not saying it was the civil rights hustle that killed him. I'm saying the aftermath, the result, the way that people started jumping on the stories and jumping on the narratives, and the way it just disappeared out of thin blue air, that's the civil rights hustle. I'm going to show you guys exactly what I mean by the civil rights hustle. So I have a few things that I'm going to show you as we roll on. It's me over here in the corner. So I got a couple articles. And I have a few things that I want to show you, okay? So you know what? In fact, instead of starting right here on this article, let me start right here. Go over here real quick. All right. Now, this is the attorney this is Lee S. Merritt Esquire. He was the attorney for, for the Botham Jean family. And he was the attorney for Joshua Brown, I guess his family, right after he was killed. And I'm going to take you back a little bit, you guys. Like I said, if you get a chance to share it one time, just check out what I'm saying. So we're going to go back and we're going to start right here. Because I always say a lot of what people believe it starts with one person. It may start with one or two people, and it'll generate this steam, and it'll all of a sudden become the truth. And it'll become the truth, whether it's the truth or whether it's a lie, or whether it was something that somebody was said just to make you feel a certain way. So I am going to show you guys, I'm going to break it down real quick, the civil rights hustle. All right? This is the civil rights hustle. Lee Merritt Esquire, October 5th. Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. He was exiting his car. He was exiting his car apartment when he was exiting his car at his apartment when he was ambushed and shot at close range. His mother asked my help to find out who murdered her son. She suspects foul play. He had no enemies. He worked for a living. We need answers, all right? So we're going to start there. This is like I'm saying, this is the civil rights hustle, because Lee Merritt, he's saying this, and he don't have no proof at this point in time, but people are taking the cues, and this is exactly where you started hearing the narrative that he was shot in the mouth, all right? And like I said, I'm not trying to ruffle no feathers, but I do want to see you fly, so I'm going to just keep it 100 as possible. When it comes to these situations, I thought long and hard about it. I said, well, should I even talk about this? Should I talk about this? Is this something that I should even bring up as a topic of conversation? And I tossed it around. I said, it might be some people that get angry with me. And I thought about the consequences and things that may proceed. But, you know what? I got to tell you guys about the civil rights hustle. So, again, let me go back over here again. Lee Merritt, Esquire. And this was October 5th. Jashua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. He was exiting his car at his apartment when he was ambushed and shot at close range. His mother asked my office to help find out who murdered her son. She suspects foul play. He had no known enemies. He worked for a living. We need answers. And look, a lot of that, yes, people do need answers. We do need answers. But first, the assertion that he was shot in the mouth. Now, let me go over here real quick. All right. And I understand you can't just trust the media and the newspaper and everything they print, but you can't just, you just can't rely on everything that come out of everybody's mouth just because they put civil rights in front of their name. They could put civil rights in front of, here, I'll put civil rights in front of my name and I'll tell you 100 lies. Okay, so we're going to stay on the civil rights hustle. Now, remember, he came out very first day. He's the attorney for the family. The family has retained, I don't know if they retained him or if these services are volunteered, because sometimes it just seems like these guys are everywhere. Everywhere. They're on every high-profile case. Let me take the everywhere back, but let me get into this right here, and I'm going to tell you guys where this is, just so I can make sure that I properly source. This is the DallasNews.com. So this is Dallas Morning News. It says, what we know about the slaying of Jashua Brown after arrest and rampant rumors, all right? Talking about the rumors, written by Tom Steele, all right? And so I'm going to scroll down real quick, because there were some things that I noticed. And like I said, I do understand there's going to be people that say, Tyrone, you just can't trust the media. And I will agree with you. And I will be one of the first people to tell you, of course, you can't just trust everything said in print media. You can't just trust everything said in print media. So we don't have to do that. We're going to check a few sources, not just print media. We're going to check people's actual words. Okay, so right here I scrolled down to, was Brown shot in the mouth? All right. Now, remember, we're talking about the civil rights hustle. Lee Merritt, an attorney who represents Jean's family in the lawsuit, okay, that's Botham Jean's family, all right? And so after, remember, he represented their family who weren't on trial, all right? So he's not representing them as like some type of defense lawyer or anything of that nature. He's representing them as, I guess, a civil case lawyer, to bolster the civil case, which, civil cases are a necessity as well, and they're deserved many times. So let me not get off on a tangent and make it like the civil process isn't a necessary process, especially in a lot of these cases. But I'm going to show you guys what I'm talking about when it comes to the civil rights hustle. All right? Again, was Brown shot in the mouth? Lee Merritt, an attorney who represents the Jean family in a lawsuit, initially tweeted that Brown had been shot in the mouth and the chest, but later backed off of the statement, saying he'd also heard from a witness who said Brown was shot in the side and the buttocks. Okay, so he said first that he was shot in the mouth, and look, let me go back just real quick. We saw the tweet in which they are referencing where Lee Merritt says that he was shot in the mouth, okay? So he says that he was shot in the mouth, and then, later on, the newspaper right here says that he recanted. He took back the statement, all right? And what I'm trying to say is this is part of the civil rights hustle that you're not paying attention to. Why would he tell people he was shot in the mouth based on hearsay anyway? This is a lawyer. This is somebody who practiced law for a living. So how many lawyers do you know that will throw out a tweet on something that's purely hearsay or speculation without any evidence, any data, anything to back it whatsoever? That is called gaslighting. That is the first thing you do when you start the civil rights hustle. You gotta gaslight the people. You gotta gaslight the people because the civil rights hustle isn't to fix any problems. It's to get a bigger settlement so you could get a bigger part. All right? It has nothing to do with actually tangibly getting to the bottom of everything. It's amplifying a situation. It's putting it out there big as you possibly can to get a bigger settlement. Now, I do agree that settlements in cases that are unjust are very, very necessary. If somebody is shot and their family, sometimes that is their only course of recourse because, through the judicial process, a lot of the times people get off. So I do understand the civil process, but what I'm trying to say is the gaslighting is the civil rights hustle because, and look, you guys see it. He's the lawyer of the family, and he's the first person to say that he got shot in the mouth. Now, you guys remember how on social media, everybody was saying that he got shot in the mouth. Everybody was saying, oh, he got shot in the mouth. It was revenge. It was retaliation. And that was all coming from this civil rights attorney. The civil rights attorney, okay? Again, let me show you. This is what the civil rights attorney said without having any knowledge of what he was saying or without knowing at all whether what he was saying had any merit or not, okay? And this is from Lee S. Merritt. He says, Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. He was exiting his car at his apartment when he was ambushed and shot at close range. His mother asked my office to help find out who murdered her son. She suspects foul play. He had no known enemies. He worked for a living. We need answers, okay? And at this point in time, Lee Merritt knows that Joshua Brown was shot already outside of a strip club last year right after a fight. But he leaves that out. He leaves it out on purpose. It's not that he's not a smart man. He's a very intelligent man. It's not that he doesn't have that information at hand. He doesn't tell you because it's the civil rights hustle. The civil rights hustle. In the civil rights hustle, the first thing that you do is you inflame the public, all right? Now let me move on. Let me go down. And again, I just showed you guys right here where the Dallas Morning News, they did an article saying that he wasn't shot in the mouth. All right, and look, and I'm going to show you guys why I'm not just going off of what print media says right after this, but I'm going to read that again just so if you're just now tuning in, you'll have a little bit of context of what I'm saying. We're talking about Josh Brown, the man who was killed a few days after Amber Geiger received 10 years in prison, and people were saying that he was the key witness and things of that nature. Lee Merritt, an attorney who represents the Jean family in a lawsuit, initially tweeted that Brown had been shot in the mouth and chest, but later backed off of that statement, saying he'd also heard from a witness who said Brown was shot in the side and the buttocks. So remember, all these rumors and stuff that were going around were something that the lawyer got that was a rumor. So he's giving out rumors, and these rumors are getting passed around and spread around, and people are getting agitated and angry and making assertions, and this is a few hours after it happened. So he's making these rumors without even knowing whether it's true or not, all right? Let me go back down. Let me say, a government official who spoke to the Dallas Morning News on conditions of anonymity says he was not shot in the mouth or head, but was shot more than one time. Dallas police have said he was shot multiple times in the lower body. All right, now here, let me go up here because like I said, like I said, I don't want to seem like I'm just strictly believing the line that was told to me by the media. All right? So let me scroll up a little bit. I gotta use my scroll finger to scroll up. So right there it was saying Josh Brown was shot in the mouth. All right. All right. Now right here, later on that day, now the tweet is out there. And the narrative is out there and it's going out and it's running rampant that he was shot in the mouth. All right? Now, the same person who told everybody that had everybody so caught up in that rumor didn't know it for a fact. Now, look, let me scroll up. Same day, little later that day, where hashtag Jashua Brown was shot seems to be disputed. I was told by the immediate family that the ME said the mouth and chest. Initially, I was told in the back. All right? So initially, he was told in the back. Then the family said that the ME said in the mouth and the chest. You see what I'm saying? But this is all saying that he doesn't know. He is a lawyer putting out things that he don't know. And if he said that he thought at first it was the back, he never said the back. He said the mouth. To get people inflamed, to get people enraged, to make it seem as if he knew for sure it was the police. All right? Okay? You know what I'm saying? We will have to await the autopsy to be sure. Now, doesn't it seem like he should have did that in the first place? Doesn't it seem like he should have did that in the first place, you guys? Like I'm trying to tell you. This is the civil rights hustle. Hustle. All right? Scroll up. And then I'm going to show you guys some more. You know, it was also said that he was a key witness. You see what I'm saying? And I'm going to show you in this article where it says about the key witness. All right? And just stick with me for a second if you guys can, because this is definitely going to go somewhere. We rolling. Let me see. Let me scroll down. All right. And like I said, I'm not here trying to defend what happened to Jashua Brown. I don't think any life should just be taken for any certain reason. You know, I'm not the arbiter let me take that back. Not arbiter. I'm not no judge, jury, or nothing like that. I'm not the police. I'm not a guy on a crusade to try to make people look a certain way. But what I am trying to do is alert people to how to know when you are being hustled, when your emotions are being tied up to something for somebody else's personal gain. Now, was he a witness? Prosecutors did not immediately respond to the question about how crucial Brown's testimony was to their case. Other neighbors at the apartment complex also testified about what they heard and what they saw the night of the shooting. But see, they're not mentioning that because it doesn't fit the narrative. Like I said, this is the civil rights hustle, is to have you pissed off at information that they don't even know. They don't even know. Now, remember, this is stuff that's coming from the lawyer, right? The civil rights lawyer, okay? Now, nobody that he's representing is on trial. So he's a civil rights lawyer. I think they should take the rights off and just make it a civil lawyer because he's fighting for civil cases, right? So what is the rights added on for? You know, like, are you really protecting rights or are you just suing civilly? Okay, all right, so let me go into it a little more. All right. 2 jurors told ABC News that the jury didn't need much time to find Geiger guilty in the murder. All 12 of us said she was guilty probably within 5 minutes of being in there, juror 21 said. The decision hinged on testimony from Geiger herself. Before she went inside Jean's apartment, she made up her mind outside the door that she was going to kill the threat, juror 34 told the network. All right? And so the reason I show you guys that is to say this. They're saying, well, he got killed because he was a key witness. The jury said that his testimony didn't even make a difference. There were also other people who witnessed it that testified as well. Nothing happened to them, but they're trying to make it like something happening to this guy. It's something that just isn't possible, even though that they have so much information telling you that this is very possible. They have information to let you know that it's possible, and that's why I say this is the civil rights hustle. It's a hustle. And now here, let me say this. I don't want to make it like everybody out there fighting for civil rights is a hustler. That would be wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is a lot of people that give the narratives, a lot of people that give, the story on how things form up and the way you should think about things and the way you should intake things, they kind of make things up. Here, let me show you guys this. You go over here. And like I said, I've done reporting on this judge. I think the judge's behavior was despicable. I think the deference and the preferential treatment she showed Amber Geiger after the case was despicable, no matter what her excuses are. I've heard it, right? But see, at the same time, Lee Merritt posts this. The state knew Jashua Brown didn't want to testify due to concerns for his safety. He flew to California when the trial began. They threatened him with jail if he didn't return. He went straight from the airport to court. Dallas County has a deputy to protect him. They failed. And see, right here, the judge says, I'm surprised he came. She says, I'm surprised he came. And so Lee Merritt puts that out there like it's some substantial thing. The judge said that because Josh Brown has said he didn't want to testify. And when he said he thought his life was in danger, he stated that he thought his life was in danger because the same people who he had gotten into a fight with, who had shot him months prior, were trying to come back and get him again. But they're leaving that out on purpose because they want to manipulate you. They want to manipulate you. They want to be mad. And so when you only give part of the information, you're doing that because you are a part of the civil rights hustle. The hustle. You dig? Got some more stuff that I'm going to show you. It's not going to be long. I understand. It's Saturday. People got things to do. People to see. You feel me? So I'm going to roll up. Now remember, he was the lawyer when it came down to the Botham Jean family. And jump over here. Then, he was the lawyer for Jashua Brown. All right, let's see. Statement from the family of Jashua Brown, and it says Lee Merritt, Esquire. All right. And I met him before. All right. So let me show you guys a few things. I'm going to come over here. And then we have this, all right? We have Sean King. And a lot of these guys, these are influencers. These are the guys who say something and then you find everybody like repeating it after as if it's fact. And my thing is when they say stuff that's not a fact, they do not take it back. And they let you guys be out there just reciting stuff that is not true because they're trendsetters, all right? They're trendsetters, very, very smart gentlemen. They are trendsetters, and people follow the trend of what they say. Sean King, okay, says, for days at Merritt Law, all but begged the Dallas Police Department to not lead this investigation, knowing that the community would not believe them. And a lot of the reasons the community would not believe them is because you guys are telling them not to. And for justified reasons, because the police departments throughout this country have lied a lot to put people in a bad place. So let me not act like that doesn't exist. Let me go on. It says, they ignored his advice and today came out with perhaps the most outrageous story I've ever heard in my life. All right? Now, that's the sticking point. He's calling a story outrageous that could very well be true. He doesn't know. He's speaking way out of turn. Way out of turn. In return, you know what you get. You get people on social media. You get thousands of people saying, well, we know it's a lie. And this is who they're getting it from. I'm showing you guys where these things generate and then where it goes from there. All right? And I'm showing you where it goes from there for a reason. For a reason, okay? So look. Civil rights hustle rule number 1, you have to enrage the people. Civil rights hustle number 2, if you find out that you're wrong about something you enrage the people about, you recant it, but just on the low. You don't announce the recantment the same way that you announced the initial rumor in the first place. You know, you might say I'm wrong, but then preference is saying, but I'm still not sure. Even if you are sure. Or what you do is like when you say you're wrong, they'll kind of like still switch the narrative because there's always a lot of truth in the situation, okay? Because a man did die, and he did die right after a trial, and people are suspicious, and they know people are suspicious, so they just grab onto that, and they strangle that suspicion, and they add innuendo, rumors, and sometimes outright lies just so you get this big old ball of anger. This big old ball of anger. And what they do is get all the camera time. It's called shine time. It's called shine time. A lot of times when these things happen, they be like, ooh, it's good press. Let me get out there. It's not necessarily that it's good for the family, but it is good press. All right? It's good press. Let me go over here. Let me roll stroll. And like I said, I'm about to wrap this up and roll on. Look, you guys, we're going to be doing these on YouTube lately. We've been having some issues going on YouTube, so we're doing them on Facebook, then we transfer it over. And so this is why I say Jashua Brown got civil rights hustled, all right? And so I'm going to scroll down a little bit just so I can show you guys what I mean, all right? Sean King, and that's the clique. Sean King, Lee Merritt, Tamika Mallory, that's the clique. That's the clique. All right? So then he was all about Amber Geiger. Now let me scroll up. I have to find Joshua Brown week. Yeah, Joshua Brown week. All right? Okay, and so this is when they started talking about Joshua Brown. All right? This is when Joshua Brown was murdered. And so what they do is they amplify it and they start putting it out there. They start putting all these posts. You see what I mean? They start creating a narrative. So we see all Joshua Brown, Joshua Brown, Joshua Brown, Joshua Brown, Joshua Brown, Joshua Brown. And then one day, what day is this? Okay, on the 10th was Joshua Brown. Then you scroll up and you go to the next day and it's Tatiana Jefferson, the lady in Fort Worth that was killed. Oh, so if you go and you look at the day she was killed the day after he stopped posting stuff about Joshua Brown. So he cared so much about Joshua Brown and all these rumors and innuendos, and everybody was yelling conspiracy, conspiracy. The Dallas Police Department did this, they did that. It was all Joshua Brown. And then the very next day, when it was something else to jump to, Joshua Brown disappeared. And now he's the lawyer for the Tatiana Jefferson family. Not the whole family, some of the family. There's some dispute going on there as well. And so if you scroll up, now it's just a Tatiana Jefferson week. See a bunch of stuff about a Tatiana Jefferson. But you don't see anything else about Josh Brown, and this was just last week. So when I say the civil rights hustle, that's what I mean, the civil rights hustle. And the consequence of the civil rights hustle is this. We may never really know what happened to Joshua Brown now. Let's say the police did set it up. Well, they're giving all the suspicion away, so they're telling them exactly how to fix it. And let's say the police didn't do it. It really doesn't matter because these guys have put out so many lies and innuendos to form people's thoughts and speculation that don't matter what the outcome is, nobody's going to believe it anyway. But go look for yourself. It's a public page, and you can clearly see it. It's whatever is hot for the moment. Whatever is hot for the moment. And so you'll see it, and you could go by the dates, literally. The day Tatiana Jefferson was murdered by that police officer was the last day that they talked about Jashua Brown. The day Tatiana Jefferson was killed by the police was the very last day that they talked about Jashua Brown. You guys aren't talking about it anymore. You guys know why you're not talking about it anymore? Because the people who drive the narrative drove in a different direction. And you know why they drove in a different direction? Because they can't squeeze the police for any money out of this one. They don't know if they might not be able to have a civil suit against the police department if it didn't have nothing to do with the police department. So you know what they do? They jump straight to something that did have something to do with the police department that was clear and apparent and obvious, okay? This was on tape. This is going to be a huge settlement. A huge settlement. I like to do that when I do huge. Huge settlement. And since the settlement is going to be large in proportion, you don't see any more of Jashua Brown's picture, likeness, no more fighting for Jashua Brown, no more we should be looking into the Dallas Police Department. You know why? Atiana Jefferson is in Dallas-Fort Worth. She's in Fort Worth. Fort Worth is in Dallas, it's the city next to it. So they just switched over cities, and they're about to get paid. All right? Now, look. This is why I say the civil rights hustle, because it says licensed in PA and NJ, that is Pennsylvania and New Jersey. Both of these cases are happening in Texas. So you mean to tell me there's no civil rights attorneys or no civil attorneys in Texas? No? No, none at all. But so, hey, I don't know. I don't know everything about the judicial system or about the legal process. Somebody let me know if somebody who is licensed in Pennsylvania and in New Jersey can even fight a case in Texas. I don't know. Maybe he can. But that's all I wanted to show you guys, you know, like, hey, it's the civil rights hustle. Oh, and look, this would be a fun little thing for you to do. Since he's licensed in New Jersey and Pennsylvania, Google and see if there's been any civil rights violations in those two states. See if there's been any civil rights violations in those two states that he might need to attend to. They're only going to attend to something that's going to render a fat settlement. If it's not going to render a fat settlement, they are not going to be there. So instead of calling them civil rights attorneys, why don't we just call them civil litigators or civil attorney, or actually civil preparation attorneys? Because what they do is actually just prep for the civil case. And in the prepping for the civil case, what you do is you get people enraged, you make it a national thing, you get it on everybody's mind to up the money. You got to do that to up the money. You got to get paid, right? So what I'm trying to say is, and look, let me not go too far without making this very, very, very clear. When something happened to these families and something happened to these people or victims of murder by police, homicide, whatever you want to call it, they do deserve their just due. And if a civil case is all they could get, then Lord help them get as much as they can. As much as they can. This is not about that. What this is about is how the civil rights hustle goes. When they lie and get people all outraged about stuff that just is not true. That's not true. And then what they do is they go back and they tiptoe it back themselves, but they tiptoe it back in a way to where they're not really just outright tiptoeing it back. They're not taking it back with the same fervor as the way that they're giving it out. So if you guys missed it, I showed you guys earlier where he said that he was shot in the head and shot in the mouth. And then the very same day, just a couple hours later, he said, well, he's not sure. Somebody told him that. But it's too late because millions of people is running with that narrative. Millions of people believe what these guys say. And they know a lot of the time that it is not true. And that's why I say Jashua Brown was a victim of the civil rights hustle. Because now all the rumors are out there, all the innuendos are out there. Everybody, it's a conspiracy. So my thing is this, even if it is a conspiracy or if it's the truth, nobody will never believe anything because these guys already put that narrative out there. And so look, they put the narrative out there. Everybody believe it. Well, watch how fast they move on. See, this is when Josh Brown started because it was Amber Geiger. That was the money right there and then. That case over. Josh Brown. And so, yeah, I'm going to say it straight out. They be like, yippee! Yes! We have another one. Let me get to it. So right after that, so then they run right over to Josh Brown. Right over to Josh Brown. Here, look, I'm going to show you guys. We'll look at some dates so you can see what I'm saying. You see? I'm going to show you. And see, this is where he was recanting that he was shot in the mouth. So, and this is the lawyer for the family, for everybody who was saying he was shot in the mouth. This is why you believe that. It's because first he put it out there, but then he come with this one, where hashtag Josh Brown, who where he was shot seems to be disputed. I was told by immediate family that the ME, medical examiner, said mouth and chest. Initially, I was told in the back. I just heard from a witness who provided aid in wound to the buttocks inside. We have to await the autopsy to be sure. Now, why didn't he say that in the first place? Now listen, this is a lawyer. This is a trained lawyer, and he first comes out with a lie. The first tweet that he said that he was shot in the mouth and in the head. And everybody got this whole revenge thing. See, that was from testifying, and I showed you guys earlier where the reports came out that showed that there were other witnesses who testified, and the jury even said, it was two people in the jury who gave reports who said that they didn't even need his testimony. His testimony didn't even matter. It didn't even matter. His testimony wasn't the key to locking her up. They said they were going to lock her up already within 5 minutes of being in the jury room because they knew that she planned on killing this man, okay? And so when they put this one out here, it don't get the same energy as the one where they say, oh, he was shot and she was shot in the mouth. Now look, let me show you the date. October 5th. Now go back and find out when Jashua Brown was killed. And now let's scroll up, and look, everything is about Jashua Brown. All right? Everything is about Jashua Brown we started on the 5th. Then we could come up to the 10th. And that was the last day you heard anything else about Jashua Brown. You know why? Because on the 11th, they start talking about this new case. All right? Now remember, I seen something earlier. Sean King said we will not stop until we find out what happened to Jashua Brown. Well, they didn't mean that. They will stop. They'll stop as soon as a bigger paying case comes. And so let me scroll up one more time. Because remember, just in one day, it wasn't like no big 10, 20-day process that he just kind of faded out. Look, he went from right here, everything was about Jashua Brown for 5 days, to absolutely nothing about Jashua Brown anymore. All right? And now I don't want to get too much into this Tatiana Jefferson situation because, I haven't done enough research to be all the way sure about everything that's going on, so I don't want to say something that I'm not positive of, but I'm looking at this. It says the funeral of a Tatiana Jefferson postponed after her father gets restraining order to stop it, all right? So basically, her father got a restraining order to stop it, saying that the other side of her family or the rest of her family are trying to do everything without him. He's also saying that a baseline of it is money, all right? And the money that he's talking about is this money right here. Let me show you. We got a GoFundMe page. Nah, Katina, his testimony wasn't even needed. They had other witnesses, and it's in the Dallas Morning News, and I could post the links. They had other witnesses who testified as well. The jury said that they didn't even need his testimony. But then, too, Lee Merritt, the lawyer for the family who was putting out all these narratives and innuendos, he also had posted that he didn't think it was the police anymore either. But they don't tell you that the same way that they tell you the opposite. It's the civil rights hustle. It's the civil rights hustle. All right? And so this is the GoFundMe that they're talking about. So far, $246,000 raised. And see, and the father is kind of mad because the father's saying he seems like they're getting over because the funeral is already paid for. I guess he has some type of insurance policy that pays for the funeral. So he's saying the funeral is paid for. So he's saying, what do you guys need the GoFundMe for? It says, in the GoFundMe, it says it's for her burial and expenses for the family. All right? But like I said, I don't want to get too far into that because I don't know when it gets to money being funny. People do argue over money. Families argue over money. But I do find it funny that he's right in the middle of this. Again, right in the middle. All right? So, yeah, you guys, I don't know. He's licensed in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, but he's just constantly in Texas for some reason. I don't know. Maybe it's big money in Texas. Oh, wow, the kid's dying and folks only want money for GoFundMes. Huh. That is the 12-year-old that died? When did she die? No, this isn't the 12-year-old that died right here. What I'm showing Katina is this is the civil rights hustle. And so what I did was I went and I showed people how certain lawyers, these civil rights lawyers or civil rights attorneys or whatever it is that you might want to call them, will go out and they'll stir people up on stuff that they know isn't true. And they stir you up on stuff that isn't true because that's how they get a bigger settlement. And of course, if a family deserves a settlement, they deserve a settlement. My whole thing is stop getting people all up in arms about things that just are patently false. That are just patently false. All right. And again, this is the same guy who put out the innuendos about law enforcement. All right. And so this is why they don't talk about Jashua Brown anymore. See, they should get out there and tell you guys, look, you guys, we put out some things that weren't necessarily true. And since I don't want to compromise the integrity of finding out what really happened to this man, I have to take back any innuendos and unfounded things that I said just so we could sort through the evidence when it really comes out so we can find out who's lying and who's not. But instead, they throw out all this innuendo. They throw out all this stuff that's not true. And look, I even took bets. But look, it says right here, I want to be clear about something. I am not saying that law enforcement played a role in the murder of Jashua Brown. I am saying that the possibility of law enforcement cannot be ruled out at this point. See, he had to switch it. See, and so instead of just saying, yes, it was law enforcement, now he's saying that it can't be ruled out at this point. Duh, you can never rule out law enforcement. We know that. Duh, but why did he spend so much time trying to make people believe for a fact that it was law enforcement? And so that's why when these things happen, I say you can't say something as a matter of fact before you know the facts. And the only reason people feel like they can do it or they feel like they should do it is because what you would think is a reputable source is telling you these things. Although the things that he's telling you, well, not true. Not true, all right? Here, let me go over here and show you guys this one. Let's see what this one say. And like I said, it's the civil rights hustle, you know, birds of a feather flock together. Sean King, Joshua Brown, at Merit Law, is working directly with the family. And now he's working with Tatiana Jefferson's family. He worked with the Jean family. He worked with Pamela Turner's family. He worked with every family. But is he working to fix the problem? No. Why would he want to fix police shootings if that's how he get his bag? So no, it's not about fixing the problem. Sean King at Merit Law is working directly with the family. BP 22 is providing a $100,000 reward. And we won't stop until we find the murder of Joshua Brown and why. It was an execution. They didn't steal anything from him. And again, he's saying this and he don't even know what he's talking about. Don't have a clue what he's talking about. And people are out there just outraged because what this guy is saying. Outrage right here. Let me go back to this one. Now look at the difference. Look at the difference. If you're watching, look at the difference. Just watch the sleight of words. Watch the matter-of-factness of this statement. Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. It didn't say we suspect Josh Brown was shot in his mouth and his chest. He did not say it is a rumor that Josh Brown was shot in his mouth and his chest. He didn't say a little birdie told me that Josh Brown was shot in his mouth and his chest. He didn't say, well, the family told me that the ME told them that somebody else told them that Josh Brown was shot in the mouth and the chest. He says very clearly, Josh Brown was shot in his mouth and his chest. All right? Very clearly. Now you go up here, it says where Joshua was shot seems to be disputed. Oh, so now he was told by the immediate family that the ME said mouth and chest. All right? And then he goes on to say, initially I was told in the back. So if he was initially told he was in the back, why would he say in the mouth and in the chest? Again, let's see if he says, I was told in the back, I was also told in the mouth and the chest. No, he says Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and his chest. All right? Let me see something real quick. Can we see these comments? Do it show it? I don't even know how to look at comments on Twitter. I don't want to reply because I want to show you guys that this is where it started, where people saying, oh, it was a hit. It was a hit. It was a hit. And it took a long time to start tamping that down. He didn't start tamping that down until other people in his profession were questioning him. So again, I ain't got time to try to figure out how to look through the comments right now. But like I said, the very first thing he said, Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. He didn't say that this was a rumor. And people take this as the gospel because he's the family's civil rights lawyer. Is this even a civil rights case? Did he even know, is this even a civil rights case? Did civil rights have anything to do with this at this point in time? Did they know that? No. They didn't even know, but they're putting it out there in the public, and so we could eat it up. We're eating up stuff that doesn't even isn't palatable to eat because it's not true. Again, I'm gonna show you guys one more time. He says Josh Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. He didn't say it was a rumor. He didn't say somebody told me. He said he was shot in the mouth and chest. And later on, where Joshua Brown was shot seems to be disputed. I was told by immediate family that the ME said his mouth and chest. Initially, I was told in the back. I just heard from a witness who provided aid to a wound in the buttocks and side. We will have to await the autopsy to be sure. Now, shouldn't he have said that in the first place before he got millions of people running out here talking about it's a conspiracy, he was shot in the mouth? It's a conspiracy, he was shot in the mouth. The second statement should have been the first statement, but this is the civil rights hustle right here. You don't need to know no facts. You don't need to know what really happened. You just need to get the people pissed off. You just need to get the people pissed off. And as a lawyer, as an attorney, how can you do that? Would you guys hire an attorney who will just throw out innuendos and rumors as if they're facts? Because this sounds like a fact to me. Coming from a lawyer, somebody who is attached to the family of the murder victim, Joshua Brown was shot in his mouth and chest. That sounds like a matter of fact. The next tweet sounds like a guy who wasn't quite sure. So if he wasn't quite sure, he shouldn't have never put that narrative out there in the first place. Because then he go up and recant it, but when they recant it, nobody ever hears that. Nobody ever hears that. You dig? So, hey, you guys, so look, one more again, I'm going to show you how the civil rights hustle go. You jump from one case to the next without solving nothing but trying to get as much money as you could get out of the family from the settlement. All right? So here, we Botham John, it was Botham Jean, and then Joshua Brown got killed. And for 5 short days, it was all about Joshua Brown. And then the very moment Tatiana Jefferson got killed, time to go. Time to move on. Time to move on. Look at the dates. All right? Look at the dates. October 10th. October 10th. Here, let me see. When did Tatiana Jones get murdered? So October the 10th was the last day that they said anything about Joshua Brown. So let me scroll down. Let me see what day that she was killed. Because it wouldn't surprise me if it was actually on the 11th. Because, I mean, the way that they was bantying about, going on about saying that it was a conspiracy, we got to get to the bottom of it. We're still not to the bottom of it. So what happened? Where you guys go? On October 12th. So, yeah, it happened at, October 12th at 2:30 a.m. So one day after, one day and a couple hours, they go from Joshua Brown to a Tatiana Jefferson, and they have not been back to talk about Joshua Brown ever since. You guys know why they're not talking about Joshua Brown anymore? Because they knew from the jump that they were possibly wrong with the rumors that they were spreading. They knew that the story was very plausible and possible, but they didn't want to tell you guys that. You know why? Because it's the civil rights hustle. And by being a lawyer for a lot of high-profile cases, what that does is make other high-profile cases, make vulnerable families look for you. Look for you. Now, you got to think these guys, they're lawyers that aren't actually fighting any cases. So are you a lawyer or are you a spokesman? Things that make you go, All right? But, hey, you guys, look. I just thought that we'd talk about it. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. You guys have a happy, happy Saturday. Much love, peace, and respect.
Siege monstrosities.
Let's go back in the day, back in the cars. Back when backpacking was born. 'Cause backpacking mean you was in rap battles or back in the class, back in the black dragon
Bobby. What's up with you? Thanks for watching, Relly. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it.
Fit the mask, you can get shot, shackled, and scarred.
Hey, go back and look at it. I pieced it together if you didn't get to see it all. It's the civil rights hustle.
They run in your pants, 2 duffel bags, no Santa Claus. They shuffle back with a bag fat as bizarre. I ain't even mad, cause either that or you back starving. And thinking back on my grandma pantry and had shit. Now we eating ramen straight out the bag with a can of corn. Back to the day my cousin was slain, taught me everything. Then he went right back with the Lord, cause he took 2 to his chest, 3 in back of his skull. Not a single witness when them bitch ass niggas ran off. Wish I could travel back to the scenes, not in the physical but in supernatural form. While them bullets travel, I step in front of the path for a half second, then put the cannon back in his palm. Maybe he could've changed the outcome. I'm sick of saying how come.
The civil rights hustle. What you do first is you get the people all riled up. And getting them riled up may take a few lies sometimes, but you just gotta do what you gotta do to get the bag out.
Home of the goons and the goblins, color-coded mobsters, loud marijuana. Babies on the corner who gon' never know they fathers. So you got a problem, you ain't from that spot, this is suicide city, the place we go through and try to climb.
The trouble with giving people lies that aren't true is you discredit the story, you discredit people's words, and that's what they're doing. They make us look crazy, our own people. These are civil rights lawyers who are supposed to be fighting for your civil rights, and what they're doing is making you crazy. They're telling you stories that they know are patently false. Come on, y'all.
Pulling up his mama screaming like, who did it? Forgive us for we all sinners. Just trying to find it like those 5%ers. Life's a bitch, apologies, I ain't trying to send her. Just trying to get some cream, I'm no luau sender. Southern Cali look harmless, don't it? These sandy borders and ocean water look awesome, don't it? But take the wrong corner, you're caught in an awkward moment. And ain't no shady palms, just deputy cars patrolling. Every wall you see got graffiti artists on it. Ain't no party lights, that's a helicopter up on it. Usually means somebody knew Maserati was stolen, or probably a robbery with a getaway drivers rolling. I'm going insane, trying to keep my composure. Working on this project that me and God been composing. Meet me and you think I'm this nice guy, some Jordans. See, open up that closet and skeletons falling on you. My nigga is real, swear that I'm real. Hungry for truth, I eat every meal. Could never look past that Beverly Hill. No Mrs. Carter, but I wonder how destiny feels. It ain't so easy just to think ahead, cause everything ain't what you think it is. You thinking what I'm thinking, think again. Yeah, welcome to Suicide City, home of the goons and the goblins, color-coded mobsters, pills and the mollies. Daughters turn strippers, they ain't trying to get to college. You know that's a problem, but you ain't from the spot, this is Suicide City, the place we go through it. Try to climb out the bottom, but most of us won't do it. And if you do find your way, then you pray that you won't lose it in a fast way. This could be your last day, last day. City life.
We got lawyers out here who ain't fighting their case, the civil rights